Today, we are talking about the USGenWeb Project. Now, this is a Footnotes episode, and I like to call them footnotes because it's in the footnotes where the real sources are. And today's real source is Taneya Koonce. She is an avid genealogist who has been a volunteer at the USGenWeb Project since 2007. Now, she also runs an active Facebook community for family history enthusiasts that she calls the Academy of Legacy Leaders. And well, I'll leave a link for her Facebook group in the description box below. If you're new here, my name is Connie Knox. I am a lifelong genealogist here to help you go further, faster, and factually with your family history research. Now, here she is to tell us all about the USGenWeb Project, Taneya Koonce. Welcome to Genealogy TV. I'm so glad you're here. This is super exciting because I think there's a lot of people who maybe are not aware of the USGenWeb. So welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, Connie. I'm so glad to be here.
So, I understand that you helped coordinate the North Carolina state version of the USGenWeb project.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how it got started.
All right. Well, one thing I want to first start off with is that, yes, I do help with the North Carolina project, but we are actually just one out of a whole network where there's a project for every state. So collectively, it's known as the USGenWeb Project. So how did it get started? Well, the USGenWeb Project was started in, 1996 officially. There had been some work done by Jeff Murphy, was the guy's name, in late 1995, where he really wanted to bring together and create a collaboration between genealogists and family history enthusiasts so that there would be a website for every county in the state of Kentucky. Because what we do is provide free information and resources to help people advance their family history work. So he started off by bringing together this group of people for Kentucky. Once they kind of had that down and validated the concept, he then decided to expand it, and the USGenWeb Project was born.
Okay, and so it has expanded across the United States. Does it go beyond the United States borders?
No, so the USGenWeb is United States.
US, okay.
That's the United States, yes.
And so every state has a coordinator?
Yes, so every state has at least one main coordinator. Many states have assistant coordinators as well. So we'll use North Carolina as the example. Our state coordinator, her name is Dolores Williams, and I'm the assistant state coordinator. But we don't do this alone, right? Because we have an incredible group of people that we get to work with, also volunteers, who help coordinate each of the individual county sites.
Yes. Just like some of the greatest websites out there, volunteers have teamed together. Like, for example, Find a Grave was originally, a team of volunteers that started that and continue to take photographs of gravestones. Here, the USGenWeb has a ton of volunteers helping. Now, tell us what a person might find on their local state, or does it get any hyper local than that, or is it strictly statewide?
It's state and county based. Okay. So there's within the state project, so I'll use North Carolina. And within the state project, we have a site for every county in the state of North Carolina. So North Carolina has 100 counties. So there's 100 different websites. Plus we have some historical counties. So there's even a website for those counties that no longer are around. Let's see, you asked, what can we find? This is the beauty of the USGenWeb. You never know what you're going to find because the way the sites are done is they're based on volunteer efforts. Whether it's the coordinator adding information, people who have family from those areas who want to share some of their own information from their own family trees. So it can be, the variety is endless. So if you can think about any type of record we may use in our genealogy research, you could find it on the USGen website. So vital records, land records, tax records, newspapers, maps, pictures, the variety is endless. And they're all unique, right? You never know what you're going to find.
So what about genealogies, family histories?
You can find those as well. Full genealogies where you see like register style, for example, or narrative reports where people have actually taken the time to write the stories of their families. People will share those as well. So it just depends.
Well, let me ask you this. Can you search by surname?
Searching by surname. So let me start by saying that a core way that the USGenWeb project is set up is to allow the coordinators to host their site on any platform of their choice. So all the sites are not living on the same server necessarily. So they're distributed in that regard. So while we may have in North Carolina, all of the sites are under the North Carolina GenWeb, we have our own domain, ncgenweb.us, but not every coordinator chooses to host their site on our domain. Some choose to host their sites on other domains. So we don't actually have an integrated search across all the entire USGenWeb sites because they live in so many different places. So what I like to recommend is that if you're interested in knowing if something is specifically part of the USGenWeb, go to a search engine, type your term in, but you can use the abbreviation of the state and GenWeb to make it focus on those projects. So I'll give you an example. If I'm searching for Koonces in Texas, I might search Koonce Marriages TX GenWeb, right? Or if I'm searching for Knoxes in Indiana, I might say Knox Divorces IN GenWeb. So you want to mirror what you're searching with the name of the project.
Well, one of the things that I'm always professing, especially when searching, is to search by location first. People a lot of times want to search their surnames first. And that's why I kind of went down that rabbit hole, because people want to go, oh, I want to see if my Uncle Fred is, or my grandfather or whatever. And I'm usually telling them, whoa. Let's go look at the local level first. Let's go state, then county. And if we have to get more hyper focused in that, fine.
Absolutely.
And see what's there. And so this is another great resource for doing that location search first.
It is.
Because
may I share? Oh, I'm sorry.
The reality is, no, that's okay. The reality is, if we do our local research first, our locale, I should say, research first, it only takes about 10 minutes really to kind of go bing, 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 bing down to where we're trying to search and realize what's there, instead of getting frustrated by searching by an ancestor's name. So I'm thrilled. This is just another great resource. And quite frankly, it's been a while since I played on it. And so I had kind of forgotten about it. So that's another reason why we're having this conversation, because once I realized you were the assistant coordinator over there, I wanted to make sure that I was like, oh, we got to talk about this again, because, sometimes some of those genealogies from people that have put them up 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago, or whatever, in the past, and has been forgotten about. Because at the time, maybe they thought this was going to be, the big thing. So that's where they're putting their genealogy, and maybe they've since passed away.
Right.
Genealogy is still up there.
Right.
And so we need to just be mindful, if we're trying to turn over every rock, to take a look at this.
Yes, it's an absolutely great resource, and I always like to share with people to check it out and to just look, because like I said, you never know. Now, every county will be different because we're all different individuals running the sites, and different people will contribute. So they're all unique in their own flavor, I guess you could say. But definitely worth checking to see if you find any incredible gems. And I've had the fortunate experience of just being able to communicate with different individuals as they find things on the site. In fact, that's how I got involved with the USGenWeb project, is because of information I found on one of the sites. And I thought, all these volunteers did this and spent their time. I want to give back somehow. And so I decided I would volunteer as well.
What else can we learn from you about this project?
Man, so I would just say, keep it in mind as someplace to search when you are researching your family history. If you have unique record sets that you want to contribute, please consider donating them to the county in which your families lived, because I really believe that it's this unique data that you won't find in some of the major search platforms that can be really helpful to others, because others may be looking for it as well. So consider donating information. And it doesn't even have to be a whole, family genealogy. It could be, a funeral program. It could be a newspaper obituary. I mean, it could be single pieces of paper with information that you want to ensure is out there in a way that's accessible for others for free.
Now, are you finding the county libraries are connecting with the USGenWeb?
Yes, we do actually. Typically, the coordinators are very experienced in their local areas. And so we will often have people who are very familiar with the county, the public libraries, for example, in those counties and have great partnerships. We link out to their resources. They link to our resources. We funnel researchers back and forth to make sure they're aware of all their options. So when I started doing my family history, my grandmother's family is from Washington County, North Carolina, on the eastern part of the state. So I visited the Washington County NCGen website, which I am the coordinator for now. But what was listed on the site is an index of marriage records, of death records that span decades. For example, they had an index of death records from the county from 1913 and 1980, where they listed the deceased person, the name of the parents, both parents, mother and father, and information from the death certificates. Now, this was well before we had the availability of those death certificates online, on like Ancestry.com has them now. So, and even though we have those online at Ancestry, the way this index is formatted makes you able to quickly get to the person of interest because you can look by surname.
Are any of the counties like, I'm working right now in Randolph County a lot, doing a lot of land records and deeds and probate materials as it relates to land records. Are there hyperlinks, like kind of like Cindy's list? Are there hyperlinks within the different counties that just say, hey, here's a record set, go here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So in addition to original records that may exist on the site, we often will link out to other free sources that we want people to make sure they know about.
Yes.
So, yes,
very
there
good.
are original sets and then links out to other sites to help you.
Good to know, because all of Randolph County's deeds are online.
Yeah, the North Carolina actually does a really good job. There's deed offices across the state, so we want to make sure we link out to those.
I'll tell you what, that's a lot of fun in itself. We can go
Yes.
down that rabbit hole, but
I know.
we won't. Anyway, I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to add.
No, I really encourage people to use it. I use the sites to help others. I had an example just last week where someone reached out for help in Tennessee, because I'm also volunteering with the Tennessee group, and he was looking for information about Ancestor. In Smith County, Tennessee, the person who coordinates that site, well, on his site, he had transcribed marriages from microfilm that span decades, and I was able to find a marriage index of a marriage record for this particular researcher. And so then he went to it. Now he's going to follow up by going to the actual microfilm. So use it, search it, explore it. You never know what you find. I think that's just like my tagline for USGenWeb. You never know what you'll find.
That's a great idea. So let me ask you this. Okay, so if somebody wants to volunteer,
yes,
I know that there are some counties that say adopt me on it because there's nobody actually coordinating for that county.
correct.
Or maybe somebody who is currently the coordinator for a county is kind of burning out and maybe needs a backup.
Yes.
How do they volunteer?
So to volunteer, if you visit a site that doesn't have a coordinator, get in touch with the state coordinator. So every county site will have a link out to the main page for the state. So go to the main page for that state and look for the coordinator's information and reach out to them. Most will have a volunteer page with more specific details, maybe a form you can fill out to express your interest and where your areas of passion are. But get in touch with the state coordinator and they can help you get involved and tell you what it's like to be a volunteer. It's not a massive amount of time, a couple hours a month sometimes, but it's a great service to provide and give back to your community.
One of the reasons why I asked is because those volunteers are often living in that area.
That's right.
And so if you're trying to connect with, you're out of state or whatever, and you're trying to connect with somebody in that county who might have knowledge or maybe works at the library or goes to the local genealogical society meetings on a regular basis,
yes,
and, is connected in that county, you might be able to connect with that coordinator and say, hey, I'm trying to find this cemetery. I know it exists out there somewhere.
right.
Or, I don't know where this road is, or it's
Right.
gone. I don't, I
Yeah.
can't find it, but
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great opportunity to connect with somebody locally.
Yes, it certainly is. And even if the person doesn't live there, often they know a lot and can get you to what you need.
Well,
Mhm.
I really appreciate this. This has been
Oh,
fun.
I'm always delighted to share about the USGenWeb Project.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Taneya. Thanks so much for the conversation and coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Now, if you want to join her Facebook group, there is a link in the description box below this video. And if you want to help support Genealogy TV, you can do so by hitting the join button and learning a little bit more about channel membership. All right, until next time, keep on climbing your family tree.